May we live in interesting times.
Yeah, we certainly do. How are things?
Things are fabulous. Thank you for asking.
So,
how about your
doing okay. Listen, I actually, about a week and a half ago, I drove by for the first time in a long time, deep into the heart of that district over there, Hamilton Canal. I just kind of wanted to see how it looks with the new bridges and the new infrastructure. And I was surprised to see the beams already up there and the foundation laid, and a good portion of your project over there, and I believe lots 8 and 9, is now underway. 25% complete, we found out from last night, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We're thrilled. It's been a pleasure working with the city and the weather, and even the measures we've taken for COVID have all cooperated. So progress continues, and we're excited.
What's your time frame? When do you anticipate this being open to residents and others to use the buildings?
Likely summer, fall of 2021. We'll be at least in a position for a certificate of occupancy. We'll start pre-leasing units well prior to that, and fingers crossed, most of our projects, because of the quality, we'll end up with it being 98% leased up before we even cut the ribbon.
So by next fall, you anticipate a significant portion of it being in use?
That's correct, sir.
Oh, that's a good time frame. Give us some specifics of the project. It's a sizable project of housing units, correct? In some first floor retail?
That's correct. Yeah, I call it mixed use. 125 units. It's an interesting project in that Canal Street actually bifurcates the two sites. So you have two parcels, but the buildings will connect with a bridge, if you will, over Canal Street with actual units within the bridge. Kind of reminiscent of the bridges that connected the great factories of Lowell. And with that, those units will be studios, approximately 15. One bedrooms, approximately 63 one bedrooms, and 47 two bedrooms.
I noticed that as I drove by, that new bridge that they put in is going to literally drive underneath. It looks like it's shaping up to be an arch of some sort, correct?
That's correct, sir. Yes.
I would imagine from an architectural and a construction standpoint, that certainly had some challenges, but artistically, for people who are going to look at that, that's going to be pretty sharp.
Yeah, it will, and for all the right reasons. We work closely with the Lowell Historic Commission, obviously with stakeholders in the community, including City Council. It will, in some ways, juxtapose against the wonderful backdrop of historic Lowell's factories. They're now converted to housing and offices and the like, and set a tone for the Hamilton Canal Innovation District, which, so more modern looking. That's for sure, but green materials, building this in kind of 21st century technique, making sure we're thinking about the future, and having the building have much more sustainability, meaning it's going to be energy efficient, etc.
So I noticed that there was a lot of discussion last night about the type of units that are going to be. My understanding originally was this was going to be a market rate facility with market rate units available for rent, but I understand that, or at least if the reporting I heard from last night was correct, that some of the units are now also going to be affordable and maybe even some subsidized housing in there. Please tell us kind of the breakdown of what the units are going to be like, and maybe kind of an idea of how affordable or how market rate they're going to be.
So there'll be 27 market units. That means what the Lowell marketplace dictates a one bedroom or two bedroom should cost will be right in that competitive set. And those rents, like a one bedroom might be $1,800, and it could go as high as, with the two bedroom with all the amenities, $2,400. We have middle income units, which basically means that the mass housing, a state housing agency that funds housing projects throughout the Commonwealth, participated and helped us bridge a gap in funding to make the project work, as participated. And we're going to have 54 middle income units, and those rents will be between $1,500 and $2,000. So if you income qualify, you somewhere between, say, $60,000 and $87,000, that's what you make. Collectively as a family or individually, you'd be able to rent those units for, again, $1,500 to $2,000 dollars, and that's 54 total units of middle income units. And then there's 39 affordable units, and those are 60% area median income. So for a one bedroom, that means someone making approximately $44,000. And those rents would be somewhere around $500 to $1,200 for those units. And all these will be available first come, first serve. For those that are seeking the middle income units or the affordable units, they'll have to go through state and federal mandated income qualifications, documentation, sort of with all that. But if they do qualify, then we look forward to them obviously living in our communities. We pay great attention to our residents and the community that surrounds, and we know it'll be a wonderful experience for them.
Do you have any concerns that I've seen low-income buildings and I've seen high-end buildings. I don't know if I've seen a lot of these hybrid types of buildings. Do you have any concerns that someone who's paying $2,400 a month might not want to live next to somebody who's paying $500 a month? There are going to be very, very different types of people.
Well, I'll tell you, Ted,
That was actually Steve Perez, our co-host on the show. I apologize.
Sorry, Mike.
That's all right.
So, what I would tell you is it reflects the demographics of Lowell in so many ways. And we build this type of mixed income project all over Massachusetts and really all over the nation, and it really does work harmoniously and perfectly. And neighbors one to the next doesn't know what unit they're in and what they qualified for, so all that's kept confidential.
Well, sure, yeah, but I mean,
and we've had fabulous results.
Oh, okay,
good. And that's in communities like Worcester, and communities like Boston, and Springfield, and so on and so forth. It just does work.
Okay. It just seems very different. I think that.
Are you required? Do I understand it correctly, Mike? This is Teddy again. That you're required anytime you do new housing in Massachusetts, you have to do 20% affordable. Is that still a thing?
Not a mandate on a per project. The Commonwealth, looking to make sure that it can meet the needs of all of its residents, has a goal for each community that they hit a minimum of 10% affordable housing per their definition. And communities often strive to hit that goal because of philosophy. They want to make sure they provide for all. And it also, because of a chapter in the Mass General Laws called 40B, it prevents people from being able to, developers from being able to proceed forward and produce affordable housing, avoiding some of the local approvals if a community doesn't hit 10%. So for kind of carrot and stick, it's a philosophy people want to provide for all citizens, but then also in the event that communities don't, developers could come in and propose affordable housing. It could not be, stopped at say zoning and other places. It's given a fast track and an ability to kind of be done without local resistance.
So it's interesting to me that you kind of have to operate if you're building housing these days. It seems to me you have to operate in this kind of dichotomy. Like, what Steve asked is, you have these units that you say that can be had for as little as $500 to $1,200 in the exact same brand new property as units that start at $1,800 and $1,500 and work up into the $2,000 range. So you got a segment of folks who want to have all market rate housing, keep it upscale, bring in more disposable income. That was a big push originally in the Hamilton Canal District. Now in the midst of COVID and also some of these other political things we're seeing, there's a big push for affordable housing, and I know the Lowell City Council has really brought this up, the lack of affordable housing. But as I look at these numbers, yeah, $500 to $1,200 is pretty much affordable for this part of the country, but even those units at $1,800 and $1,500, those are tough to get if you're of a certain income level. I'm wondering, why is it so difficult to build affordable housing, especially in this part of the country, the Northeast and Massachusetts?
Well, it's economics. The reality is if you were just to build, you mentioned it, pure market rate housing, you would have to, in a great community like Lowell, be able to achieve minimum somewhere between $3,200, $3,500 of rent for a one bedroom. Now, you can see just by the numbers I presented, that's a gap between what I believe a one bedroom through our market study will generate in a market unit about $1,800. So you're saying in order for us to build just pure market, we would have to be able to get rents in Lowell around $3,200 to $3,500. And it's the marketplace dictates rents, and the competition dictates rents. And so there's a ways to go. Lowell will get there eventually, but it's a wonderful community and continuing to grow. But in the meantime, you've got to find creative ways to create housing and for all. So in this case, what we do is we look to create an affordable lens where approximately, in our case, 39 units will be affordable as to the rents I've mentioned. And for that, government, state and or federal, will come in and assist us to bridge that gap I mentioned, which we're not going to get to with $3,200, $3,500 rents. We're down at $1,800. But they'll participate financially in the capital stack, the money we need to actually build the project. And for that, we put restrictions on those units and create those units that are that affordable product and allow them that restriction for generally 15 to 30 years.
So when you
at those rents,
like when you build these, you basically build them all at the same price to build. So whether you're getting say $1,200 or $1,800 in rent, the units
That's
themselves,
correct.
other than maybe the square footage or the number
Yes.
of bedrooms, they're pretty much the same unit, same HVAC system, same plumbing,
yes.
same electrical,
Yes.
right?
That's correct.
So,
Same quality, same approach. That's correct.
okay.
Anytime you do a project like this in a neighborhood that already exists, there's going to be a certain level of inconvenience, noise, loss of parking, construction workers, whatever.
Sure.
There are laws about working on weekends, and as I understand them, as it's been presented to me by residents who live on that street, Saturday morning is supposed to sort of be off limits unless it's an emergency. And the crews have been there a few Saturdays in a row now, most Saturdays, in fact. What's the emergency?
So this issue got brought forward to me by City Manager Donahue. She's great that way. She will drop a line and talk to me about these types of things. We were working on Saturdays with what we believed was the consent of the building department. We're now working actively with the building department. We want to be a good neighbor. We want to make sure we respect our abutters and those that are living in and around our construction. So we expect that we'll modify that approach and work on a balance if we can with the building department. They'd be backwards to work with. But we recognize we got to do our part. So more to come on that, but we're on it.
All right. There's a resident who is really, really upset. He sent me a bunch of emails. He's had some of that he felt weren't really answered directly, and I think he was talking about. I think he filed, and I don't think he told me he filed a complaint with the Attorney General. So I want, I think that we have to do what we can to remember that people live there.
Well, no, I appreciate you bringing it to our attention very much, and we do take these matters seriously. And there was a long conversation with our general contractor, the site superintendent, and all that's being worked on right now as we speak with the city's building department. So we're on it, and we'll run up the ground, and we'll make sure that we are being very respectful to our neighbors.
Mike, Teddy, again, before I let you go, you mentioned that these units are all going to become available to folks on a first-come basis. I'd like to give our listening audience the chance to be the first to come. So when can folks start applying and trying to get in and securing these units?
Thank you for asking the question. Next year, we'll be working closely, obviously, with City Manager Donahue and the council, and our goal would be to let them know kind of timing so we can start to build some excitement and some momentum. We'd also be working with you, coming back on the show if possible, to talk about the fact that we're now pre-leasing and to come on down to our leasing office. And so we'll be doing a lot of local marketing, doing our best to get the word out and working hard to make sure that everybody that wants the opportunity can have a chance to come on down and sign up and be part of this new experience at Hamilton Canal Innovation District.
All right, so no waiting list yet. We have to wait for the waiting list.
That's great.
I'd also, you'll forgive me, I didn't get to watch last night's meeting, but there's been talk in the past about you folks developing other parcels once you get this one underway and done with. Is that still an option? Are you still looking at some other parcels in there? And what might be your plans for those if you're at liberty to talk about them?
Like I said to the council last night and to the manager, we want to be where we're wanted. So if the city and the community would like to see Winn continue to expand and continue to do these types of wonderful projects, we'd love to do them. And if it were to be in Hamilton Canal Innovation District or elsewhere in the city, we're all ears. We've been in Lowell and been bullish on Lowell for 20 plus years now with all of our investments in the hundreds of millions of dollars now. And so we look forward to continuing that trend. And as was mentioned last night, a few years back, we moved our financial operations from downtown Boston to Lowell, to Boot Mills. At the time, it was approximately 100 employees of Winn Companies, a national company. It's now growing even to be more employees in Lowell. So we're deep in Lowell. We believe it's a wonderful opportunity for us as a company, and we've obviously felt the love, if you will, from the Lowell community, and so we're here and ready to continue that progress.
All right, looking forward to the ribbon cutting of that building, and I know as it's shaping up already, it's going to be a pretty sharp addition to Lowell's skyline and landscape. Mike O'Brien, Executive Vice President, Winn Development, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
All right, 7:39 here on 980 WCAP. We reopen those phone lines, and of course that Milltown